Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer, Solidaridad, for inviting me to talk on the palm oil contribution to Malaysia's economy as well as the sustainable development of the country. And in terms of the presentation, the outline is I will start with a brief introduction, followed by contribution of the oil palm to the industry, economy of the country, as well as Malaysian commitment towards sustainable development goal, and a final conclusion. So basically, as an introduction, palm oil is a very important oil for the global oil and fat market. We can see around 32% of the whatever total edible oil produced in the world are basically covered by palm oil. And out of that, in terms of export, 54% of the whole export of palm oil, export of oil and fat are actually been covered by the palm oil. And if you look at the major oil and fat consumed in the world in 2021, we can see around 31%, or 1/3 of the whole oil and fat consumed in the world is actually been contributed by palm oil, followed by soybean, rapeseed oil, sunflower, and others. And we talk about producers of palm oil. The major producers of palm oil is mainly Indonesia, followed by Malaysia and other countries. And in terms of production, Malaysia's produce around 24%. And in terms of export, Malaysian contribution is around 31% of the whole export. And in terms of what is the palm oil contribution to the Malaysian economy, of course, I think Malaysia, oil palm is a very important crop for Malaysia. The total oil palm planted area is around 5.7 million hectares, and it covers 74% of our total agricultural area in Malaysia. And it covers around 18% of total land in Malaysia. And however, in terms of our forest cover, we still have 55.3%, still higher than 50% of forest cover that we have committed during this Earth Summit in 1992. And in terms of contribution to economy, currently up for the first 11 months of 2021, the contribution export earning from palm oil is around 22.9 billion USD, and its contribution to the gross or GDP of the country for 2020 is around 2.7%, and for 2021, 18.12 million tons of crude palm oil been produced. Out of that, 15.56 million tons has been exported, and it actually involved around 500,000 smallholders that involved in this industry. And if you look about the top 10 major export product in Malaysia, palm oil ranked number 4. So it shows that how important is palm oil to the economy of the country. And in terms of planted area, as I mentioned, 5.74 million hectares, and most of it, actually the largest area is in Sarawak, followed by Sabah, and then the rest are actually in the peninsula of Malaysia. And out of the 5.74 million hectares, 11.7% are actually been contributed by the organized smallholders. Another 15.1% are independent smallholders. So we can see around 30% of the whole planted area are basically being contributed by the smallholders. And this is very important as oil palm helps the social development of the people. We can see, like example, the organized smallholders like Felda and whatnot. They've been really been the palm oil industry have really contributed to their well-being. And in terms of CPO production for 2021, as we can see, that means overall due to the labor shortage as well as towards the end there's a monsoon, and we can see. Even though we have targeted on 20 million ton of CPO being produced in 2021, but up to December this year, we only produced 18.12 million ton, which has dropped around 5.3% from the previous year. And in terms of our closing stock, however, in terms of the closing stock, it increased a bit by around 25% as compared to the year before. The higher stock at 1.58 million ton is contributed to the lower palm oil that has been exported, as well as higher palm oil being imported. And in terms of the oil palm mills, there are currently 451 mills in operation in the country, and that actually have a processing capacity of 116 million ton per year, and the utilization is around 80%. And as we know, 18.12 billion ton of CPO being produced last year, which an oil extraction rate of around 20.01%. And in terms of downstream sector, currently there are around 49 refineries in operation, and 19 oleochemical plants and 18 biodiesel plants, which with various range of utilization. And in terms of our export volume of palm oil to and other palm oil based product, we can see for 2021, obviously the highest amount of export are actually the palm oil, where we can see that means there's increase in export of CPO compared to the processed palm oil, whereas the other product mostly also have shown a reduction. But obviously there's a for a very strong reason why we have an increase in export of CPO is mainly because of the increased demand by India, especially due to the higher export tax by the Indonesian government. And in terms of our export destination, you can see that India still remain as the major importer of palm oil, followed by China and EU, despite showing some reduction in terms of export. And Turkey and as well as Kenya have shown some increase in export of basically import of palm oil from Malaysia. And in terms of the total export palm oil product, we can see compared to the CPO for 2021 to 2020, compared to 2020, there's an increase around 2.4, whereas for the others, there's a processed palm oil, especially there's a reduction by around 15%. And if we look about the export value of palm oil, most of basically the palm oil actually export contributed by the palm oil, basically the commodity, followed by the palm-based oleochemical, in this case around 25%, followed by palm kernel oil and other oils. So this is where, other palm oil products. And in terms of import, we have seen last year there's a bit increase. However, we can see comparing 2020 to 2021, we are importing more processed palm oil compared to the CPO. I think this is mainly due to the demand of the processed palm oil, as well as of the higher export tax of CPO from Indonesia. And overall performance for the country, for the oil palm industry in Malaysia, last year we have seen that reduction in the planted area. This is mature area compared to the, as well as reduction in crude palm oil production. And obviously the production of the FFB or fruit from fresh bunches has also been reduced by 7.5%. There's an increase in oil extraction rate as well as import. And overall, there's an increase in our closing stock. And obviously, I think there's a huge increase in the CPO price, which is contributing around 64%. And our overall export revenue also has increased by 45% due to the higher CPO price. And if we look a bit on the nation commitment towards sustainable development goal, basically Malaysia is committed in terms of to cut the GHG emission by 45% by 2030. And we also, as mentioned earlier, we are committed to the keeping at least 50% of our land of forest cover, as well as we want to make sure our oil palm industry still contribute towards the UN SDGs. And among the what we call efforts has been carried out in terms of to protect the environment as well as the conservation. We have a 1 million forestry species planting for 10 years. We have what we call the wildlife conservation effort. We also have central forest mine, which is basically to make sure that the connectivity of the wildlife with the in the nature compared to when they are surrounded with palm oil. And also there's a international Heart of Borneo what we call effort between Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei, which covers around 20 million hectares. On top of that, I think the Malaysia has also come up with the Malaysian Palm Oil Green Conservation Foundation, which is established in 2021. And basically the whole oil palm industry, especially the producer of palm oil, is contributing RM1 per ton of CPO. And CPKO produced annually to support basically this initiative. And this has been started, the collection started since January 2020. And basically, I think Malaysia is also committed in terms of Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil certification, which we know is a mandatory certification scheme. And currently, I think basically around up to December 2021, 92.39% of the whole planted area has been certified, where we are pleased to tell that 60% of the independent smallholder have already been certified, and we can also see the other supply chain are also been actively been certified. And in conclusion, I think basically what I would like to say, the palm oil industry is very important for the economy of the Malaysia, and especially for the smallholders and the people. And Malaysian palm oil industry is also committed to a sustainable development. And it's very important that consumer awareness, global regulation, and the stakeholder along the supply chain all to participate, making sure that the industry remains sustainable. And I think the continuous improvement in terms of R&D to ensure sustainable production of palm oil in the country is been carried out. So I think with that note, I would like to thank you once again for listening.